Okay, I think we're good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Here you go, Fawn.
Thanks everybody. Fawn Wood sigaso yan. Oni chicks kapone kote. Nimiwete ne tute yanuta. Nimiwete na wap magaki wa sino akuta. Egwa namio matsi huna nuts. Hello everybody. My name is Fawn Wood. I come to you from the Satellite Cree Nation up here in Alberta, Canada, Treaty 6 territory. I'm really happy to be here today. I'm really happy to see everybody join today. I'm excited to spend some time with you, talk with you, maybe share some songs. I know it's kind of a bit of a strange time that they say a time like this is keeping us all apart, but it's really cool that through social media we're all able to gather and spend time together. And I had a really good time when I got to come out there and visit with you guys and come to your round dance. And that was actually the very last time that I traveled anywhere like far for anything. So I'm really glad that I was able to have that opportunity with you guys. So thank you for having me.
Cool. Did you want to kind of talk about what you've been doing since we've been social distancing?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Well, when this all happened, I was a full-time student, and I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in Cree language. But when this started happening, I know it was a little hard for us. I have a family. I have 3 young ones, and a partner here, and it was I think we were falling into that worry kind of state, and how I started what I'm doing now, and we're still doing this every weekends. We do this thing that we called the virtual round dance, and at first it started off. We just got a couple of our friends to sing it. It was like being at a round dance where we passed the sticks and the next singer would come, but we would do it all live on Facebook. And now we've done 34 nights of it ever since early March. And we've been keeping busy with that. And now, we've had that opportunity to share music, and not even just music, but we've had Indigenous talent from all over Turtle Island come and perform. Like we've had all styles of music. We've had comedians, we've had dancers, we've had flute players. We've literally had coast to coast kind of music. I myself, I'm Coast Salish as well as Plains Cree, and we were able to get some Salish singers, some bird singers, some social singers, and singers from like 6 Nations. We've had people, Navajo singers. We've had Oklahoma stomp dance and stuff like that. And I think how we started that was in the beginning when everybody was advised to self-isolate and quarantine to stay safe. We noticed a lot of people were turning to social media, and there was this challenge going around with powwow singers. They were calling it the COVID challenge, where if you get nominated, you had to share a few songs. And the first few days that we were stuck at home, we didn't want to do it because we were kind of in one of those real kind of worried kind of moods. And we were like, oh man, what are we going to do for the next month or however long this is going to be? So we finally did it. Me and my partner Dallas, we ended up doing ours as a live video, and we got lots of good feedback on that. Then one of our friends, who is a fellow powwow singer from Minnesota, he said, wouldn't that be cool if Fawn and Dallas started this like a virtual round dance? And they started off and they find other singers to sing. So we did it one night, and after that night, it kind of just took off from there. We ended up doing 8 straight nights, and we had all kinds of singers come on. I think on night 2 we had Harvey Drever. We had other powwow groups join us like Blackstone and Kozad, and it's been a really awesome journey. So that's kind of what we've been busy doing. I've been busy with that, and it's something we prepare all week now, and then we do Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and we have these lineups, and people take turns going live on here. But even during the week, because we've been turning to music so much, at times like this, I think us as Indigenous people, when we're faced with tough times like this, we turn to our culture, we turn to our gatherings, we turn to that song and that dance and music. And right now we're not able to gather, so you see a lot of that being shared on social media. And even during the week, we get together now that we're kind of leaving our little town more and more, and we're going to Sad Lake, and we're meeting up with some other singers that we know, and we even do these powwow practices. And we're actually this week, I think we're going to be doing having a couple dancers join us on live. So it's been fun. That's kind of what we've been busy doing, is just turning to music and setting up these live shows for other people to enjoy, because we've had people from all over tune in. We've seen people from like New Zealand and Hawaii, Alaska, overseas, and it's just been it's been a very beautiful journey so far when it comes to music. So I'm really happy that we've been able to do something like that.
Yeah, that's so cool. I see it on Facebook a lot. And I try to tune in whenever I'm able to. Yeah, I think my cousin was on as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's so important to kind of make sure we're still continuing those really positive and good parts of our normal lives as much as we can. Um, yeah, especially when it brings so much joy, and when it's from our cultures. Um, yeah, so I think my next question is, what are some ways other than this virtual round dance, that you and your family are staying well and kind of passing the time?
Mm. Um, well, I think with little ones already, we were kind of used to this kind of lifestyle where we took extra precautions, bringing them into big places. So we already kind of had like the sanitizing and all of that. And with 3 kids, we didn't really go too many places anyways, because our kids get pretty wild. But I was just a part of this campaign recently by the Alexis Nakota Sioux, and they had asked people to bring awareness and see what everybody else could do to protect our elders. And that was one reason why, for the longest time, we didn't even go visit my dad, and he lives 15 minutes away from us, until everything was safe. Because but the kind of measures that we took, like beside we're really strong on social distancing, and only really having to go out and when we need the necessities. But even to pass the time, in a way, this has kind of been a really good eye-opening time for us. It's been a while since before we moved into our new place, I had a craft room, and I wasn't even able to really do anything with it for like over a year. And because of all of this, it's given me time to be able to practice like my creativity in other areas. I've been beading. I'm going to be sewing here because we're actually, my daughter, she turns 1 this Friday. She turns 1, so we're going to be having a jingle special open to all ages and all that on that Facebook group. It's called the Quarantine Dance Specials. So that's kind of, we've just been, besides doing things that we haven't been able to do before. We like to, it's really taught us too how to spend time at home and with each other. And that's been a blessing with this, because I don't think we've had this much time before to spend with our kids and my partner and our family, and just to reconnect like that and see what worked for us.
That's awesome. Yeah, how did you start your singing?
Singing's always, it really always has been a part of my life. My parents actually met at a powwow, and they were both singers from when they were small too. And my mom and dad, they actually used to sing at a big drum together, and that's how they met. And they would, even while my mom was carrying me. My family, it started off a lot at home though. I know a lot of people that I went to school with when I was younger, in my high school, elementary days. A lot of people didn't even know I could sing until they started hearing my albums come out, or see me like being able to travel. And even to this day, like people I went to school with, I was a really shy, really like a super shy kid in class. I wasn't much of a talker. I wasn't really able to speak in public. I just kind of stayed back and, on the down low. But how I started singing was at home. We did a lot of my dad has a sweat lodge, so we sang there, or we just sang at home, like what we've been doing on live with the powwow drum and being able to sing just at home. That's really how it started for me, just traveling with my family like that. When it came to to my journey, really starting as a recording artist, though, it started when I was when I was a teenager. Hold on a second, let me close my door for a second. Yeah, it started when I was a teenager. I actually, when I started kind of traveling without my family, a story of the very first time I sang in a hand drum contest. I always like to share this story because I really feel like that's kind of how my journey into this creating music started. I went to a powwow in Seattle, Washington. It was called the UW Powwow, and they, for the first time, that was one of the first places where they had a one-man hand drum contest, but they opened it to women. And a friend of mine, he only heard me sing maybe once before, and he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, Fawn, are you gonna enter that contest?" I was like, probably not. No, I don't want to. He's like, "Well, I think you should enter it," he said. I was like, I really don't know how. I've never sang in front. And he's like, "Okay, well, make sure you come and watch anyway." So I went to go watch, and it was actually held in this real big staircase, and all the singers had to sing at the bottom of that staircase while everybody else sat on it to watch. So I was watching. I was like, "Oh, right on. You know, I love hand drum music. I'm gonna go watch." And they had all these singers from all over there, and out of nowhere, they announced my name, and I was like, "What?" They're like, "Oh, Fawn Wood," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And my friend ended up registering me anyways, and I was like, "Damn." So I went up there. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I'll make it through 2 verses, even though that was the scaredest I've ever felt in a long time. I remember just standing there and closing my eyes, and I made it through the song, thankfully. But I ended up making it to the preliminaries, the top 10. And that was like a whole other level of intimidation, because we had to sing in front of the whole powwow tournament style. And I just I was the only woman too to ever make it to the top 10. So I felt like I really wanted to do my best that time. I ended up winning that hand drum contest, and that was the very first contest that kind of really pushed me to keep going like this. And after that, I got that courage to want to share more and to want to sing more. And I really felt like just giving myself that little push, or having my friend push me like that by registering me, it really did change the course of where I was going to go with music. So it's always been a part of my life. I didn't really share it or anything until after that moment when I was forced to go in that hand drum contest. But I'm really thankful that my friend did that, because I don't think I'd be where I am today if it wasn't for that moment.
Oh, that's really cool to hear. Um, yeah, I know that a lot of young women have been inspired by you to take up singing, and to kind of build up their courage doing that. I know definitely that's the case for me. um, yeah, what would you say, or like what advice would you give to folks who are thinking of getting into singing, or wanting to try it out?
There was one thing that my dad, he told me. You see, I was really lucky. I know my dad's Plains Cree and my mom's Salish, and Statly. I'm from BC. So when it came to being a female, wanted to sing like that, I was aware of the different protocols and traditions with women and drum and stuff like that. But I was lucky enough that my parents really wanted to encourage me to do something that made me feel good, and singing did that for me. And one thing that my dad shared with me that I always share, he said this to me one time, and I remember it, and I remember it like clear as day yesterday. He sat down and he told me, it didn't matter where you came from. Material things don't matter. Your name, what kind of house you live in, your last name, or anything like that. He said, us as Indigenous people, we have that inherent right to music and to culture, to language, and it's up to us to keep that going. And that's exactly what our ancestors, they fought so hard with all of their adversities to let us have that opportunity to sing. And I also always want to tell people that, you know, it's really up to us to practice and share our own voice. Everybody has their own voice, and and as long as it makes you feel good, and that's that spirit of that song. When you sing or when you hear a song and it makes you feel good, that's that spirit of that music that lives it in all of our Indigenous music. And that's the beauty of it. And I just really hope that if anybody out there ever feels like that, like they have that urge or that want to sing, that they practice that, because we are all given a voice and we're all given that gift. And I encourage anybody and everybody to just go for it, even if you just feel comfortable singing to yourself at home, whatever it is that makes you feel good. As if it makes you feel good, then you know you're doing the right thing.
Oh, that's awesome. So I know, at least for me, kind of learning how to sing and learning those songs has led me to learning my language.
Mm.
And so I'm wondering kind of what that journey has been like for you, learning your language. You said you're getting your master's in Cree language, and yeah, I just like to know a bit more about your journey on that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I owe that interest for me with my language came from music. That's how I was first exposed to my language, was through music. I remember being a little kid, and my dad, he was one of the founding members of Northern Cree, so we listened to Northern Cree a lot. And I used to know these songs when I was a little kid, and I never knew what I was saying. And I remember my dad even correcting me at that small. But as I got older, and I started composing my own songs. And a lot of my, at that time, I would always just sing in English, but I really, really felt that connection strongly with songs that were in language. And I remember my dad, he used to tell me, he's like, he used to always encourage me to always say Fonzie. That is my nickname. He's like, you should try learn your language. You should try learn our language. He said, you would see that the music and the songs, that there's a whole other beauty to be expressed. It's like poetry, he would say, and it sounds so much more, and you get so much more out of these songs if you understood what you were saying. And that stuck with me, because I ended up wanting to make my own songs in the language. And the very first song that I made was Tapueoma. And I got these words, and it's a real to the point, simple Cree song, but because of the meaning behind it, I think that's what a lot of people connected with. And so through music, and they also say in my studies with language and music, they say that that's one of the easiest ways to pick up language is through singing. And uh, to this now that I'm on this journey, I do my best to even teach my kids now that at an early age, just simple things around the house. And I really believe that our language is it really identifies who we are, not just as Indigenous people, but as tribal people too. It's the very essence of who we are. It's what really shows where we come from, our teachings, our ancestors, and all of the culture that is a part of us. So I to myself, I'd like to think that I really like to advocate for language. I like to encourage people with language, because I know when there's people, I myself included, when I first started learning, it's really easy to get discouraged when you're trying to speak, or when you're trying to say something and pronouncing funny, and you're always afraid to kind of be discouraged or laughed at or something like that. But it's about working through that, and just practicing. And me, I practice a lot through music. So that's how my language journey kind of started.
Nice. Yeah, I remember Top Oil Ma was like one of the first songs I heard from you, I think. And we got to sing it as a group in Ottawa when you were here, which was really cool. Um, yeah, I think my next question that I have is about your new album. um, yeah, if there's like anything you want to share about it. Um, kind of what it's about or anything like that. Really excited for it.
Awesome. I started recording. I have two of them. I had enough music to split it into two. So the first one is going to be called, we called it Gagige, and that means forever. And that too, that was a reflection of my journey, not just as an artist, but as an Indigenous woman and my language learning journey. And I wanted it to be something like that, to kind of encourage people to keep our language alive and keep it here forever. And the second one is going to be called a ski, which is earth, and it was like Mother Earth. And I have a few songs on there that honor that. And it was with Canyon Records, but they are going through a transition right now, and there's a company branching off, and that's who it's going to be released out of. And I'm really excited about that because I have some really cool collaborations on there. I have a couple of my relatives joining me. I have my Uncle Randy. He's doing another song with me. People really like that Remember Me song, but he has another song he's doing with me on there. I also have my cousin Charles Wood, who's joining me. Who else I have on there? Oh, I have some amazing, there's this musician I've been working with. His name is Alan DePerna, and he did a lot of like the instruments on my last album. So he has some really cool stuff this time around. And I'm working with a couple DJs who were mixing a couple of my songs, like DJ Boogie the Beat is one of them from Winnipeg. And yeah, so I'm really excited because it's different, it just seems like as we grow as artists, so does our music and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about it. Hopefully this month, if not July, for sure, it's going to be out. It's been a long 2 years.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, super pumped for that. I'm gonna open it up to questions from folks if there are any.
I got a comment. I definitely
A comment? Sounds so like
I have a comment. No, I like what you said about like, by putting the language in the music, it lasts forever. And like, because like I think of music, there's like a lot of artists who have songs like after they pass on that are legendary and like live on, right? And so I never like thought of it that way, I guess, just to hear it in words. It was nice to hear that. And so like for me, I've written some songs in Anishinaabe, and I feel the same way, like that those songs will outlive me and they'll be passed on. And yeah, it's just a really cool way of learning language through music. I really can relate to that. I've like learned, I've been able to pick up language easier that way. So even just like writing my own songs and even hearing like, for example, like my cousin, he's like a powwow drummer, and his drum group, I was able to pick up on some of their, like they're more OG Cree, but even just like, listening to the drum songs, like I'm able to pick up on language too. So definitely for me I guess that's kind of the learning style that I have is through music. So I don't know. It's just really cool to hear that. So many guys for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question. So for me, like I'm originally from Alberta, and so I know a little bit about like protocol in Cree territory around women carrying drums, and sometimes it can get like a little bit, I don't know, it can get a little bit tricky to navigate. So I was wondering if you had anything to share about how you navigate that, how to be respectful of protocol, but also even like sometimes it's important to question protocol, and to question like where does that protocol come from. So yeah, if you had any words about that.
Yeah, that was something I really had to, I found out really fast, especially when it came to traveling and sharing music. But like I said, I know in our territory here, one of the teachings is women aren't supposed to touch drums because of, what the teaching even before that was that we believe that the drum came from a woman. and she gave it to the man because we had that gift of life. But I've heard so many, and because of the journey I've taken with music, I really ask everywhere I go what their teaching is and why it is like that. But even from my own area and other elders, you ask different people, there's all different kinds of answers to that. And one thing that I heard was a lot of things when it came to this. Our Indigenous people, we really believe that our women and our men are equal, and they hold half of our lodges and half of our homes and half of our traditions. And somebody told me too, and I heard this a few places, that that whole what was it? That whole Eurocentric kind of mentality of rules with men over women and stuff like that was something that was brought after contact. And that I even heard even just recently too, and this is just stuff that was shared with me about there was a Nehu Squel Cree woman not too long ago that used to sing with drums. And a lot of that, being a woman singer, is something that I've taken it upon myself to ask and find out and ask these questions, because I am asked them a lot. But when I do travel, I myself, I own drums. I've had drums given to me. I've had drums that made their way to me. And right now, I'm actually stuck singing with a Remo drum. You guys know if this is made in Taiwan, but my friend made it, and I sing with it. But when I do travel to other places and other tribal territories, I always have that question too. I ask ahead of time too, like, oh, okay, well, what's your guys's take on women touching drums? Do you guys permit it? And just out of respect for other tribes, I'll ask that first. And if I'm in a territory where they don't believe in that or they don't support that, then I won't bring my drum. But then again, I do always tell people, it's good to start asking about where you come from, about what your own teachings, and it's also good to take in mind that everybody has different teachings. And like I mentioned earlier, I am Salish and I am Cree, so I was brought up with two total different takes on that. But I was thankful enough to have my parents who told me, like I said, I do this in a good way, and I share it like this. But they did tell me, be mindful about where else you are, because if you want, even though you may have different beliefs, it's important to respect other people's beliefs and other people's traditions. And that's why it's good to ask questions like that. It's good to ask questions, because I know a lot of people, when they're just told that about women and drums, and they don't really know where that teaching comes from. So I always ask, okay, well, why is it that, or how come you guys think that? And just to get a better understanding of it. So that's kind of something that I still ask to this day. I myself, I do use a drum, and I am Cree, I am Salish, but one thing that I am really mindful of is when I do visit other territories where they ask me to sing, I ask what their take is on that. And it's been tricky. It has been really tricky, especially also being a powwow singer or entering these contests and stuff like that. I have gotten a lot of slack for it in the past, and sometimes I get a lot of encouragement. I get a lot of discouragement too. But like I said, when things are done in a good way, and when you kind of already have knowledge of your own teachings and other people's teachings, and it kind of gives you a sense of peace when singing with the drum. So I always say, just be respectful of other people's teachings and your own too. You show respect. You also expect to have other people respect your own take on it too. I hope that answered your question. I could go on forever on that topic.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, for me, I find it so important to be mindful of those teachings. Because like on my dad's side and on my mom's side is so very different in how those traditions are upkept. And I'll have folks like, oh, like, why do you drum, or why do you dance, and like things like that. Whereas on the other side, it could be like, why don't you drum? Or like, why don't you dance? Yeah, really important to be mindful of that.
I think also too, we live in a day and age where things are evolving, and like my partner, for instance, he was one of those people who were really taught that, you know, women shouldn't be touching a drum or drumming, and then we met, and you know, we have a daughter now, and he's seen me every step of my journey with singing. I started traveling with the group that we both sing with, and now he also says that too. He also supports that, and he sees how different traditions and different beliefs are there, but he also sees that there's a lot of women who want to find their voice. So even when it comes to just singing, for those women who really do want to follow their own tribal beliefs, it's good to share your voice. Start there, you know. And I know there's a lot of questions asked with those protocols and stuff like that, but even again, you see a lot more. There's like a surge in women singers now, and when it comes to the drum, you know, I do know all of the women that I do know that do have drums. They have a lot of respect for it. You know, they really do take care of themselves and that. And there is still traditional beliefs being followed there, but the respect for the drum is one of the biggest ones. And all of the female singers I know that have drums, they treat their drums really well, you know. So that's another teaching that's kind of universal in our Indigenous communities, having that respect for the drum.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking of my family's journey, I guess, with the drum, and how I have like cousins as young as 5 who are drummers and just want to sing, and really cute to watch, but also really special to watch. So with that, I was wondering if you had a song that you wanted to share with us.
Sure. I already have my drum. I already had it ready to go. I'll share a new song with you guys, actually. This is a song that I came up with the words, and the words mean I'm thankful I woke up and I seen another day today. And it says I'm thankful every day. And I came up with the words for these, but my partner Dallas came up with the melody of the song. And this is actually going to be like only my 3rd time singing this song, but I'm really happy to share it with you guys. It's a really special, it means a lot to us. We haven't been able to make a song together in a long time, and we really wanted a song that anybody could sing. And all of our music that we create, you know, it's we put it out there for everybody, and if anybody ever feels like they want to sing it or share it, we're open to that, because they used to say, well, he's the one who taught me that saying. They say, you know, songs they're not really ours. We can't really claim them, that they're given to us from this, like, the spirit world and our ancestors. And so I'll share this song with you guys.
That was awesome. Yeah, do folks have any other questions for Fawn?
Don't be shy. You can ask me anything.
I just wanted to ask, maybe what's your favorite song that you've ever written and why? Maybe.
Oh man, I have so many favorites for for very different reasons. Da Pueoma is my favorite because that was my very first song in our language, and it was to encourage women singers. And I'm really big on encouraging anybody to share their voice, especially females, because like I said, there's been a surge. Also, my song for my kids, those were very special to me because this is a chosen way of expression, and I always say that before I could even talk to people or find that encouragement to share words, I felt more comfortable sharing it through songs. So that's really tough though, but I would have to say either Da Pueoma, only because it was my first language song. My more recent favorite song was a powwow song that I composed, and it was to encourage all the youth. That's probably my favorite song right now that I composed, and it's all in Cree, from the lead and everything. And maybe I'll share a little bit of it with you guys. But in my song that I made, this is my most recent like language song. I talk about, I say in the song, the young ones are watching. When we sing and when we dance, think of them, like do it in a good way because they're watching. I'll share a little bit of that song with you guys, but that was that is my most favorite song because when I made that song, I was thinking of all the youth that I'm approached by, or people that ask me questions, especially my kids, because I really think it's important to start encouraging our youth instead of really scolding them when it comes to tradition and language and culture. And so this was my song of encouragement for them. I'll share it with you guys. I haven't recorded this song yet either. It came to me after I was done my albums, but it's a powwow song, and my group has yet to sing it at a powwow. Just me and Dallas kind of sang it, but I'll share a couple starts of it with you guys. And this is my favorite song that I've ever made so far. Oskai sa get the bang gonawa, Oskai sa get the bang gonawa, Oskai sa get the bang gonawa, Kiskeno mami ukiwaya, nega moya ke heya heya, ne me toya ke matone manawa. Oskai sa get the banco now, Kiskena mami ukiwaya, nega moya ke heya heya, ne me toya ke matone manawa. Oskai sa get the banco now, Oskai sa get the banco now, Oskai sa get the banco now, Kiskena mami ukiwaya, nega moya ke heya heya, ne me toya ke matone manawa. Oskai sa get the banco now, Kiskena mami ukiwaya, nega moya ke heya heya, ne me toya ke matone manawa. I think that's my favorite song that I've ever made. I sing it all the time. I think my family's tired of me. I'm tired of hearing me sing it, but it's an all Cree song. So yeah, that's what that song means. It just, it tells it, the message is to be mindful about when we sing and when we dance, because the little ones are watching us, and that's what that song means.
Oh, nice. So we're gonna end the recording now. So yeah, miigwech Fawn for coming on and hanging out with us for the hour.